Hey everyone, thank you for joining me here today. My name is Penny from penny-astrology.com, and today we are here to talk about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So I know we still have some mixed feelings about this. You know, there's been a lot of turmoil in our country for my fellow U.S. citizens out there, and I hear you. I feel your pain. I see some of your comments on the previous videos that I've made about our now officially former president, and it's not my goal to ruffle feathers or take sides or anything like that, but for me personally, this is a day to celebrate, and it's not because I am the biggest Joe Biden fan ever, but it's just about celebrating democracy and celebrating progress. And as many people have pointed out, Kamala Harris is the first female vice president, which I'm pretty freaking excited about. And you know what? I think you should be too. If you're not already excited, please find it in yourselves to be excited for us as women, because, you know, women have dealt with so much oppression. We used to not even be allowed to read books. You know, we could back in the day literally get I don't know if they would usually burn at the stake or hang women for reading books, but it'd usually be one of the two. Not sure which was the more common practice, but this is really beautiful progress to me. So as you can see, this is my website. I am a professional astrologer. I do tarot as well. And today we are focusing on astrology because we are going to talk about Joe Biden here and his vice president, Kamala Harris. Now, I apologize if I say any names wrong. I have this weird thing with A sounds, and it just happens randomly, and I feel like I can't control it. But we're looking at their charts, and I'm sorry to ruffle more feathers and bring up more drama, but I am gonna do it because I've heard some rumors and some speculation, did Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have an affair? And there's some people who've been suspicious of that. I'm not sure what they saw that made them suspicious, but I'm going to go over it astrologically and, see what kind of pops up in the chemistry between them. And again, I'm especially if someone who's a family member of Kamala Harris or Joe Biden saw this, I especially apologize. Just disregard this as a dumb video, please. But I am going to address that question anyway. To me, it's almost fun to have lighthearted drama after all of the really, really heavy, awful drama that we dealt with. And for the record, I don't think that there actually was an affair, but we will get to that, and I will explain why people think there might have been an affair. Okay? So first, we are going to look at Kamala Harris, because ladies frickin' first. So I want to say I love her personality. I love her smile. You know, she looked so warm and happy at the inauguration. I feel like I can't say that word right, but she looked really happy. And I have a bias totally in favor of Libras. You might be noticing that I'm a little more willing to make fun of Libras than I am other signs. And that's because I love Libras. I have so many awesome Libras in my life. And I think Libras, they do aim to be fair, so they can be really good politicians. Now, there is a positive and a negative expression of everything, including all things Libra. So the negative potential expression of Libra is Libra's ability to, be self-righteous and saying this is fair or this isn't fair. Sometimes they get a little bit too emotional or a little bit too egocentric about it, and then some of them will stop seeing it from an objective point of view, and they'll wind up even though they meant to be fair, they'll ironically become very, very unfair. So it's not that all Libras are perfect, but the idea and kind of the goal of Libra is to be fair, is to see things from two different perspectives. And I do want to say that sometimes Libras can get a little bit too zoned in on the idea of there just being kind of just two different perspectives, just two different ways to see things, which is kind of oversimplifying things. And perhaps if she had a little bit more Aquarius in her chart, we can see she does have Saturn in Aquarius, but if she had a little bit more than she does already, that would help balance her out even more and help her continue to see things from a bigger perspective. Another thing that I am concerned about with her chart is that she has moon opposite sun. And, I don't normally see astrological placements and criticize people just for their astrological placements. But we just came out of a presidency where, our former president, Donald Trump, he has moon opposite sun as well. And I feel like that just created like emotional whiplash for our country, because it seemed like there were these different ideas of who he actually was. He was expressing himself in ways that felt very contradictory, and it was confusing for people. And for the person who has this aspect, moon opposite sun, it can be kind of emotionally distressing. It can feel like you don't really want to be the person that you are, and sometimes you even do things that upset your own self, and it's this sort of contradictory thing that can be very upsetting and very frustrating. So Kamala Harris has some interesting conjunctions over here to her sun sign. She has Eros and Academia. I think I'm saying that right. And that has to do with her, I feel like it gave her kind of like a magnetic personality, whereas, normally some of these aspects she had would make her come across as, more specifically sexual. And I don't want to sexualize the vice president. I really don't. But what I'm saying is that this thing that draws people towards her, that would normally be a sexual type of appeal, because it has this academia thing here, it makes it more so that they feel embraced by her in an intellectual way. They feel like they're being listened to. They feel like their voice is being heard. So she has a really great ability to do that. And people are going to feel like she is very inclusive and she's proactive about the things that she actually hears. And that's the kind of thing that draws people to her all the more. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to Joe Biden now. If you want to include anything you see about Kamala Harris, feel free to leave it in the comments below. So Joe Biden, one of the first things I noticed is he has a yod to his moon. So that basically means that his emotional state and how he's feeling about things is very important to him. And that doesn't mean he's going to sit in his office crying all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if he did at some point, but he would try to keep it a secret and wouldn't let anybody know about it. But what it means, first and foremost, is he is very intuitive. He operates on intuition, and that is in good part how he makes his decision. Now, he does actually have a lot of good intuitive aspects here, giving him strong intuition, good judgment. So that is a good thing. I know in the tarot reading I did back in November, I didn't say it out loud, but when I asked about the economy, I actually saw Joe Biden's face showing up as a good thing that would happen for the economy. And like I said, I don't particularly like Joe Biden, but I did take that as reassurance for, whether or not we like Joe Biden. It does look like he's ultimately going to have a positive impact on the United States economy. And one thing I didn't like about Joe Biden, though, when I was looking at his chart, is it feels to me like he has kind of a lot of relationship drama that tends to follow him around. And I know I'm perpetuating that even now because I'm about to delve into whether or not he had an affair with Kamala Harris. But yeah, that's something that is potentially a problem, potentially a little bit of a distraction. And he does seem like he's going to have a great financial impact on the country. I don't necessarily feel like his priorities are in the places where I would want a president's priorities to be. But he has good money managing abilities, and he's also able to find good ways to be able to save money and almost create more money within the budget from having saved that money. So that's a good sign. Now we're going to start to get into a little bit more of the how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually work together, what is going on in their synastry and their composite charts. So this is not a particularly easy chart. This is not a, oh, we get along, we agree all the time, and everything's hunky-dory kind of chart. This here shows that they actually challenge each other a really good bit. And they even hold each other accountable. They're willing to call each other out when they feel that there is an issue. So this is not like just an automatic, we agree on everything type of relationship. This is we have very different ways of seeing things, and we want to hold each other accountable for what it is we're doing. And specifically, if one or the other feels that they're being unrealistic, then the other person's going to call them out. Like a lot of times it's going to have to do with money. Like, what can we actually do with money? What can we actually do with the budget? You know, one of them might have an idea that seems like it's great, but it comes across as being a little bit far-fetched. Why do I get these notifications? I don't want them. It comes across, yes, some of their ideas are a little bit out there. I'm apparently going to have to turn off my notifications because I don't even have Facebook up, and it's notifying me anyway, and that's actually pretty annoying. Okay, so we did that. Hopefully that won't happen again. But yeah, basically if one of them has an idea and the other one doesn't necessarily think it's going to work, and I feel like they're going to have a good ability to see each other's flaws, and they have a constant sense of motivation to be able to change, to be able to come up with a new idea. So this is a relationship where they really challenge each other a lot, where they learn from each other, but they are going to have those moments where they're kind of giving each other the cold shoulder. Now, the really good thing about this is that they have very lucky aspects to Jupiter here. They'll be able to create a lot of, growth kind of from the ground up within the United States. It's just a really beautiful blessing that they have. They're probably going to be able to create some new jobs, make use of some new technology, and be able to get new resources going that kind of empower the people in very, very simple and very casual, but also very effective ways. So another good thing that I see about this is even though they don't agree on everything, they're not really heated about it. They don't have any really harsh, they have this one harsh aspect to Mars, but that's not really a big deal. They don't have anything that comes across as explosive and would create a nasty fight. They also don't have a lot of ego investment in their relationship either, but they might feel like they have this kind of approach to each other, like, I don't care how I make you feel. I don't care whether or not I make you feel good about yourself. And at times that can be like a little bit like disappointing. Like, we all have a habit of wanting a cheerleader. We want someone who kind of compliments us, who boosts our self-esteem, who makes us feel like more motivated. But the only motivation that's coming in here is that challenging each other, that I don't think this is good enough. I think we need to change something. I think we need to create more improvements where we can. And guess what? I think your ideas were actually kind of bad, so we shouldn't go with those. We need to figure something else out. So that's the kind of dialogue that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to be having between the two of them. And it's not always going to be friendly, but at the same time, it's not going to be explosive either. It's going to be constructive, and I do think it's going to benefit the United States. So delving into the romantic affair nonsense again, they have Jupiter opposite all the frickin' sex and like spiritual connection, soulmate aspects there are. Some people even believe that Jupiter itself is supposed to be a planet of soulmating and of destiny and finding your twin flame. In the astrology I do, that's not quite how I practice, but I do consider it to have to do with luck and fortune and how things are able to grow. And this is basically an aspect here that would prevent anything from being able to grow. So this little like orgy, if you will, of asteroids over here, that would be pretty freaking hot and steamy if not for the Jupiter opposition down here. And it might feel like there is sexual tension at moments. Like I do think like people who have noticed that, you really did pick up on something. Like there's some tension that happens here, but the opposition to Jupiter makes it feel like it's something that can just never quite happen. And like, in theory, you could say that these are like forbidden lovers. You could say they're star-crossed lovers, that they will never actually be able to meet in reality. And if these were clients that I had, I would have to tell them like, look, you can pull out all the cards, you can try to do everything that you want to do in order to make this relationship work, but the possibility of it working is very unlikely. But again, this is specifically like sexual and romantic pairing asteroids. It's not just about teamwork in general. It's just about that specific thing. They don't flatter each other's egos enough, and they don't have a peaceful enough emotional connection to be able to tolerate each other for more than just a short while. So this is like, they have a kind of relationship where it's like, I want to work together during the day. I want to get our business taken care of. I want to get everything handled. And then I don't want to fucking see you until I have to show up for work again the next day. So that's the kind of relationship that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually have based on astrology. Next, we're going to look at their synastry chart. And this one actually looks a little bit worse than the composite chart did. Like the composite chart had more harmonious aspects, more things making the relationship feel peaceful. And this one has a lot more of the you fucking irritate me vibes. So again, we're delving into the reality that when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris spend too much time together, they do start to get sick of each other. Now, when I see how bad this looks, it does make me wonder if eventually it is going to affect their work. Like, maybe they'll come on really, really strong, making really awesome changes at the beginning of Joe Biden's presidency. But then as things kind of progress and they have to spend more and more time with each other, they might get sick of each other and they might not be as productive. Hopefully they'll find a way to work through it anyway. But there's like, Joe Biden honestly looks like he feels like total shit about himself when he is around Kamala Harris. Like, he feels like he doesn't really meet any of her expectations, but I'm still getting the sense that he wants to, that he strives to be able to meet the call of what Kamala Harris expects him to be and what she finds to be acceptable. And I find this so funny because like when I see them together, the energy that I get, it does look like Kamala Harris not really looks up to, but she likes Joe Biden and she respects Joe Biden. But then when I see this chart, I see, for some reason, Joe Biden doesn't necessarily feel that that is true. But we know that Kamala Harris over here with her moon in Aries, that is very dominant female energy, and also Mars in Leo. This is the kind of woman who she will say what she wants, she will speak her mind, and she does not like dealing with disrespect, and she also has kind of short patience as well. So she expects things to be done, and she oftentimes, with all this cardinal energy, she sees things in terms of black and white. It's like either you did the thing you were supposed to do, or you didn't. I'm not waiting till tomorrow. I'm not waiting till the next day. You're either going to do it or you're not. And Joe Biden here, honestly, when I look at Joe Biden's chart, I mostly think he was very spoiled, but then he had some issues with feeling like he wasn't loved enough at the same time while being very spoiled. So you can go ahead and include some of his backstory and stuff if you want to leave that in the comments for fun. I'm not denying anything about his backstory. I'm just saying that the guy had life that was objectively good, but then he still felt like, some of his emotional needs weren't met in life. And that does make him a little bit insecure. So he carries that insecurity, with him all his life, as we all do with our insecurities. We just love baggage. and he carries it into his working relationship with Kamala Harris as well. And I do feel like he feels kind of motivated, like I should be able to meet this woman's expectations. But at the same time, after a while, it can kind of start to wear him down. And, it can make him feel like he's not necessarily doing anything right. So Kamala Harris basically has to make a conscious effort to be supportive of him and give him like the occasional encouraging word here and there in order for them to have the most functional relationship possible. Kamala Harris also pushes him to, educate and share information a little bit more, because Joe Biden has this personality where he might not be aware that other people aren't as clued into things as he is. Certain things that are happening, he'll think is obvious. He'll think that, everybody already knows that that's the way it works. But Kamala Harris, she's a little more down to earth, and she's like, no, Joe Biden, that's actually not the way it works, because most people have no idea what's going on. So you need to actually share information about what's going on, which is a big relief, because this 12th house Scorpio energy that Joe Biden has, it can definitely come across as shady. It can be hard to trust a 12th house Scorpio, because it feels like they're not being honest. It always feels like they are hiding something. And the truth of it is, whether or not they actually mean to hide something, hiding things and keeping secrets and, not really being an open book is just kind of in their nature. So it might not be that he's intentionally being secretive, but Kamala Harris has the ability to understand that Joe Biden does not share some of the information that he needs to be sharing. So she's more willing to push him to do that, to get things done, to keep things more open, keep the public educated, and keep things a little bit more healthy. So they also have Moon conjunct Moon, which, despite this whole we don't give a fuck about each other's feelings complex that's going on, this means that they are actually aware of how the other one is feeling. So that can make that aspect of their relationship a little bit easier. So they don't have to like rub up against each other in harsh ways as much throughout their day. They do have kind of a mutual understanding. And then Joe Biden, he also has his moon opposite Kamala Harris's sun sign, and then there's the opposition to Mercury as well. So it might feel like it's a little bit hard for him to listen to Kamala Harris at times and like fully accept the perspective that she is able to share. So that's another challenging thing that comes across in the relationship. And actually, like generally speaking, they both have oppositions to Mercury in their synastry chart. So that can make communication difficult. If I were going to suggest something for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, it would be to have a third party pretty much always sit in for your conversations, help you guys like understand each other and mutually agree on things, because you are capable of accomplishing a lot together. You have a lot of really strong, lucky, powerful aspects in your composite chart together, but you have some huge communication barriers. So you need someone, not just any random person, but someone who specifically can ease those for you. Someone who specifically has some Aquarius placements, someone who has some late degree of, Cancer or Pisces placements, someone who is empathetic and sees things from a wider perspective. Whereas, Joe Biden might be oversimplifying things in certain ways, and then Kamala Harris is getting a little bit too zoned in on other things and not really seeing the big picture. It's going to create communication barriers, and they do need at least one other person who can, kind of help sit in with their conversations and help them figure things out. All right, one last time, we are going to take a little trip into the gutter here, or wherever we're going, and we're going to talk about some of their sexual chemistry aspects, just because we had to, just because it was rumored. And there is a lot going on here. You can see some of these conjunctions with those same asteroids, Eros, Psyche, Antaros, and then there's even Vertex over here. So there is a lot going on there that is creating a sense of natural chemistry. But like I said, when they start spending time together, they actually don't really get along well enough for it to be able to go anywhere. And you can see, like, aside from this conjunction, there isn't even really any aspects to Mars here. So there might have been some like initial attraction, like when their eyes met and they first started talking to each other and stuff. I'm sure it felt like there was some attraction, but then like once they spent some time together, I feel like they just get over it and they're like, oh, never mind, I'm actually not that into you at all. So like I said, I don't think an affair would have actually happened between the two of them. I think they have a lot of good aspects for working together, but their downfall is that they're going to have a lot of communication barriers and they're going to get sick of each other pretty quickly. So I hope they'll be able to work through some of those things. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you would like to book a reading, you can contact me through my website down here. Other than that, please make sure that you are subscribed so that you can see my other videos and we can talk again. Take care. Bye.